You believe that through the use of this method you may learn to work more intelligently with the plan, and become a better helper of your fellowmen? What is there in this objective world that is not the inadequate symbol of a divine idea? What have we in our outer manifestation but the visible sign, at some stage of the evolving purpose, of the plan of the creating deity? What are you yourself but the outer expression of a divine idea? We must learn to see symbols all around us and then to penetrate behind the symbol to the idea, which it should express. There is however a technique of study which may be of service to you as you attempt to arrive at an idea, and thus study conceptually the many symbols by which we are surrounded. It is largely the technique for which meditation should have prepared you. The difference between this technique and meditation work is mainly one of polarization and goal. In the study of symbols conceptually, the consciousness is polarized in the mental body, and no attempt is definitely made to contact or involve the soul or ego. Herein lies the distinction between the second stage of symbol interpretation and ordinary meditation. You have exhausted the method of familiarizing yourself with the form aspect of the symbol, and you know well its outer contour and externalization. You know too that a peculiar series of lines, such as, for instance, the 3 lines forming a triangle, represent such and such an idea or truth or teaching. This is recorded in your brain, drawing on the resources of your memory. The registering of old information and knowledge and the figures in the symbol serves to pull your consciousness up onto the mental plane, and to focus it there in the world of ideas, or of concepts. The concepts exist already upon the concrete levels of the mental plane. They are your mental and racial heritage and are ancient mental forms which you can now employ in order to arrive at meaning and significance. It is an ancient statement of fact, which Plutarch expresses for us in the familiar words, that an idea is a being incorporeal, which has no subsistence of itself, but gives figure and form unto shapeless matter and becomes the cause of the manifestation. The figure and form you have registered with your brain and memorized, and likewise its activity in time and space, along with its innate capacity to build the form and express through that form a concept or idea. As you work inwards, you are also becoming aware of the nature of the motivating idea through the study of its form and its demonstrated activity, and you are discovering the field of ideas of analogous nature in which the idea embodied in the symbol finds itself. This field of ideas, interrelated and mutually explanatory, is now open to you, and you will increasingly find yourself in a position to move in this world of concepts with freedom. To work and live in the world of ideas now becomes your objective and main effort. You train yourself in the recognition of ideas and concepts as they lie behind every form. You begin to think clearly about them and to see the direction in which they lead you and where, within the eternal plan, they fit. If aspirants will do 3 things: A. Develop the power to visualize. B. Train the mind to intuit reality. C. Rightly interpret that which is seen, they can provide a demonstrating laboratory for the trained observers of the world. One of the things which the developed intuition can do is to break the glamour and illusion which invade the life. One of the things that a group of aspirants, whose intuitional interplay is established, can accomplish, is to aid in the work of smashing world glamour. Such work can be done when you have awakened the intuition, and when your interrelated understanding is firm and true. The hierarchy will be able to use the world aspirants as an instrument for the breaking of group glamour wherever it may be found. I refer to this possibility in order to incite you all to more rapid and steady growth and effort. You have been told that one of the needs lying before all aspirants is to arrive at that intuitional knowledge, and that intelligent understanding of glamour, both individual and planetary, which will enable them most definitely to work at its dispelling. That understanding will necessarily be only relative, but in the course of the next few years, your knowledge of the subject and of the methods whereby glamour can be dissipated can be materially increased. This must happen if you work at the problem consciously in your own lives, and attempt to grasp the underlying theory also. Very little has been written or taught hitherto anent the subject of glamour, and it may mean much of value, if we undertake the consideration of this subject, of its causes, and its effects, and also deal with the technique whereby it can be dissipated and dispelled. It is obvious that I cannot deal with the subject adequately in one instruction, and we will take the next 2 or 3 years, therefore, to discuss and study this important matter growing out of the need of the present time and the increased sensitivity of humanity to subtler impressions. It has not been possible for me to do this up till now, as the group was incomplete and the inner cohesion needed strengthening. Now I can do so, as the group members are functioning together with a much increased inner relationship, and a spirit of love has been shed abroad among you through the group reaction to each other's need in the recent period of glamour. It is my intention, therefore, to change your work somewhat, retaining the symbolic phrases as an exercise for your intuitional insight, but dropping the consideration of the more formal and visual symbols. You have not gained from these symbolic forms what has been hoped, for the concrete mind of the majority of the group members simply increased the form aspect, and the remainder needed not this method of instruction and development. We shall change the focus of attention to a deep study of glamour. Herein will lie your service, for as you think truly, and use your illumined intelligence, if you can achieve this, my brothers, you can help in time, to do 2 things. 1. Clarify the group mind on this subject. I refer not here to your particular group, but to the world consciousness. 2. Help shatter the great illusion which has held, and still holds, the sons of men in thrall. I ask, therefore, for your service along these lines, and I request also that you give increased attention at the time of your full moon contact with myself. This group should have a special aptitude for work along the line of dispelling glamour at the period of the full moon. Contact is made on the different planes, according to the focus of the subtle bodies of the personnel of the group, and this group makes its contact with me on the higher levels of the astral plane. Hence the clarity of their reactions and the wealth of their detailed records. Also, herein will lie eventually their service, for they can later, but not for some long time yet, utilize the days of contact, and the moment of entrance, as it is sometimes called, for definite work in dispelling some of the world illusion. First must come, however, aptitude in dispelling it in the personal life of each one of you. Another group makes its contact with me on mental levels, and therein will lie their field of service. Still other groups are only as yet in an embryonic stage. Their personnel is incomplete and the group integration only in process of being set up. I will, therefore, ask you to intensify your effort each month at the full moon period, and seek to strengthen your tie with myself and with your fellow group members. One word of warning only will I give. Success along this line will bring both its rewards and also its difficulties. You will have to watch with care for the undue stimulation of your astral or emotional nature, with consequent and subsequent glamour. You will have to exercise the deepest watchfulness in the endeavor, to work thus on the astral plane, holding simultaneously the attitude of the observer on the high plane of the soul. No constructive work and no service of vital importance can be rendered in this difficult sphere of activity, unless there is this detached and liberated attitude. You are to work in one of the most difficult spheres of activity, perhaps the most difficult to which a disciple can be called, and hence the advisability of working there in group formation. I cannot emphasize too strongly that you are to work as a group, and not as individuals. 3 great events are imminent in the world consciousness today. 1. the growth and understanding of telepathic work. 2. A comprehension and scientific investigation of illusion and world glamour. 3. An increase in the right methods of healing. If this is so, you can see how groups of disciples can constitute a contribution to the emerging revelation and how useful our consecrated service can be. I say, our, advisedly, brother of old, as I am working definitely towards these three ends as a part of my ordained, self-ordained, service. I ask for your cooperation and assistance. The steady impact of right thought on the human consciousness by trained groups of thinkers is the method that can be most successfully applied at this time, and here these groups can help profoundly. One of the things which will emerge most definitely during the next 3 or 4 decades is the work that groups can do on levels other than the physical. Group service and united effort towards group welfare has for 2 centuries been seen on earth in all fields of human endeavor, political, philanthropic and educational. Group service on the astral plane has been started also since 1875, but united effort to dispel the world glamour is only now in process of organizing, and this group can be a part of the corporate effort towards this end, and swell the number of those so engaged. Train yourselves, therefore, and learn how to work. Telepathic sensitivity is necessarily the objective of all groups of disciples, but it is the main objective of that group, which we might call the telepathic communicators. Here they can render potent service. Groups of sensitives of this order can constitute a working, mediating body, and transmit the new knowledge and teaching for the race. They can mold public opinion, and change the current of men's thoughts. All small groups of people, naturally and inevitably, arrive at a telepathic relation between themselves, and between the personnel of similar groups, and this is to be desired, and fostered and should rightly and steadily increase. But, as your telepathic sensitivity is increased, see to it that you are not deflected from your main group objective, which is to study and understand the significance of glamour, and the laws for its dissipation. Record and note all telepathic activity and phenomena and learn to work this way, but regard it as a secondary issue for you at this time. One of the outstanding characteristics of the work done at the time of the full moon will be the mass of phenomena noted. This is to be expected, as this service calls you to work on the astral plane. But it will provide you with the field for the wise use of the faculty of discrimination. It is too early, as yet, for you to work at the problem of separating the real from the unreal. Your task at first will be recording. Keep detailed records. Preserve the scientific attitude of detachment, and of recognition, and write down all that is sensed, seen or contacted. These records will serve as the basis of analysis if all goes well, and from that analysis we may gather much of value. What I have to say to you as regards the subject of glamour, falls into certain broad generalizations such as I. The nature of glamour. I. The causes of glamour. I. The dissipation of glamour. As we proceed we shall divide our subject up into greater detail, but in this instruction I only seek to get certain broad